Here is a Lasko 3733 box fan, but this is not an ordinary 3733. This is one of the very earlier models that used the pedal blades, and this was in fact a very good fan, very powerful and very reliable. You can see here that it does utilize the Marco motor, which is a 6-pole shaded pole motor. Here's the informations. It is model 3733, type 1, E20739, UL listed 1540, 120 volts, 2.2 amps, 60 hertz, 1999 to 2000. There are 3 of these in the family. These may be, I would say, top 5 most nostalgic fans to me. These were purchased new by my grandparents in probably the year 2000, I guess. And so they bought 3 of them. One was given to my uncle, one was given to my mother, and they kept one for themselves. I have 2 of them now. This is the original one that was given to my mother. This is the one that I used for all those years. The one that my grandfather had was like everything else that he has. It was mint in the box. So I confiscated that one and I gave him a new one because I wanted that one for my collection. And my uncle still has his. It's in about the same condition as this one. The feet are missing, the handle was busted, but it still runs. I don't think he uses it much anymore. I got to try to get that from him. He also has a Lakewood brace blade, or one of the earlier models. I need to try to get that from him as well. Anyways, this didn't replace any fans from my uncle or from my mother. They never had any box fans. I think this might have replaced a fan from my grandparents. I very, very vaguely remember some kind of 20-inch box fan that they used to, my grandfather would try to use in the kitchen. It shook so bad that it would move across the floor as it ran. It was really bad. And I really only remember it distinctly that one time. I recall it was very difficult to see the blades. They were like a dark color, and I really don't remember what the cabinet looked like or anything. I used to think it was one of those Edison ones, but because the blades were kind of what I remember the color being, but those the guards are really thin on those. It's kind of easy to see them. So I don't know what that fan was. I really have no idea. I suppose it could have been a super, super filthy 223, but I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it was something else. Anyways, so that's what this one replaced, I think, for them. And I remember these things really, really well over the years because we all had them. You know, this was used at my grandparents' house heavily in the kitchen because at this time there was no air conditioner upstairs yet. They only had the one air conditioner downstairs, and so it was pretty hot upstairs. So they would use this one in the kitchen, and then when the air conditioner got installed, which is a vintage Carrier air conditioner, that got installed in the dining room, they kept using this fan, but they started to use it in the hallway instead to move the air down the hallway into the bedrooms. And in fact, to this day, that same use case still exists. Same old Carrier air conditioner, and the box fan, the newer one I gave him, the 3733, still runs in the hallway to move the air down the hallway. The uncle doesn't really use his much anymore as far as I know. They used to use it a lot before they had the air conditioning. And then the one that we had was in use all the time. ironically enough, it was also used in conjunction with an old air conditioner. At the previous house, there was a wonderful, I think it was a white Westinghouse air conditioner in the living room. And the fan would often be positioned in the dining room, which is in between the kitchen and the living room. And the fan would be put in the dining room to push the air from the living room into the kitchen. And it would run like that the whole summer. That was always how it was used. And then when the air conditioner got tragically replaced for some central piece of junk that probably didn't even last 5 years, I kind of confiscated the fan and would use it myself because that use case in the dining room disappeared. And so I remember using it quite a bit. And then when we moved here, I kept using it here. And I used it a lot here because the windows at this house were large enough to fit a box fan. They weren't at the other house. They didn't open tall enough. So I used this thing in the window quite a bit here. And really, this had a long run because it wasn't until like 5 or 8 years ago that I really started to get other box fans. For a long time, this was the only box fan I had. So it really was used extensively. And I have a lot of old videos of this box fan. I keep saying this, I need to just do it. There's a lot of old videos I want to go through and show on the channel, with some voiceover on them. Hopefully I'll be able to get to that soon. Although something tells me it's not going to happen soon. Anyways, I'm thrilled to have 2 of these things. One with the original box in mint condition. This one I am going to be restoring soon. Well, I'm saying soon, but who knows. I have a new handle for it and a new switch. The switch is kind of flaky. It works, but not super reliably. I also have new feet for it. I had no idea until a couple years ago. I don't know why I didn't think that this was the case, but the handle that is on the new ones that are still sold today is the same size, and it fits on just fine. So I grabbed a handle from one of the newer ones, and I set that aside. Same thing with the feet and the switch. The switch, I don't know how that's going to work, because the positioning may be different. Like this one here, I don't know if the numbers are going to line up correctly or not. I suppose if they don't, that's not the end of the world, but the handle and the feet I know should be pretty much a drop-in replacement. So, let's go ahead and plug this thing in. It has a polarized plug and no fuse, and it's kind of all bent up here. And it still runs just fine. And this thing has a ton of hours on it. It ran straight through summer after summer after summer for well over a decade. We're looking at 123 volts right now. It's pretty high for what it usually is. I still have not changed this meter out for the other one, so these ratings again should probably be taken with a grain of salt. I don't know exactly how accurate they are. Now it's saying 123.2 volts, so it's kind of fluctuating a bit, but we'll get an idea of how it runs. It's a shaded pole motor, so it's relatively inefficient, but if these were kept clean, they were pretty reliable. These would run for quite a few hours before having problems. They're not flawless. These are known to, they're not invincible. They do have a couple of known cases where they explode, but generally speaking, these are pretty good motors. I need to keep the thing angled like this for the lighting, but airflow is going to be an issue here. I'll get it close this up a little bit. Maybe that'll help. These are really quite powerful. I think the only plastic box fans that really exceeded these that Lasko made would be that Weather Shield model that has the like Venturi guard thing, if you will. These, I think a lot of airflow is hindered by this guard with the slats that go horizontally. The ones with the circular guard really moved a lot more air because those guards were not as restrictive. So I'll go ahead and start this thing up now. It has a very distinct startup sound, which I remember very, very well. Hopefully the switch works enough to capture it properly. Well, the switch is not working too good today. There it goes. And I'll go through and record the startup sound at the end of the video again. So there it is on low. It has kind of an annoying sound to it. Nostalgic, but annoying. It's got that high frequency whir to it that all of the earlier thick pedal blades had. And unlike the new ones, this still has the pretty calm, quiet, low speed. It's moving, well, it just fell. It's moving quite a bit of air, you know, but it's pretty gentle and it's pretty quiet. And the motor has a noticeable hum to it as well, which I don't really remember the hum that much. I don't know, maybe it always did do that. Anyways, it's running now. Balance is pretty good. I don't really feel it being out of balance at all. Alright, let's go up to the 2. I'm going to have some issues here again. This is actually really quite dangerous. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I don't use this is because of this this switch here. Okay, there we go. There's number 2. And it has a pretty distinct sound to the motor on number 2, which that I recall very vividly. And that is the sound that it's making right now. Oh, I forgot the kilowatt thing. This is 1.4 amps. And the power factor of 0.74 with watts at 140. On low, we're looking at a power factor of 0.72, 195 watts, and 1.06 amps. And this will fall over very easily, even on medium, so I have to hold it without the feet in place. It's really quite unstable. I feel it shaking a little bit now. It's not bad. It's pretty much in balance. And of course you can hear that annoying whirring sound that it makes. Yeah, but it's pretty strong. Not as strong as that Weather Shield one, but it is pretty strong. In fact, I would say that the Weather Shield one is significantly stronger than this. And this is moving good air, but the Weather Shield one is really something. Okay, let's go to the high. It'll absolutely fall over on high. There's no chance of staying up by itself at all. Well, at high, it's drawing 1.94 amps. 193, 177 watts, and 0.75 for the power factors. It's quite strong, but it's definitely not to the point of that Weather Shield one. And that's probably just because of the guard. has a pretty distinct sound on high as well. It's really throwing the air out. But see, this has the same problem as a lot of these fans did. You can see the air is really going in at all the corners, and that's throwing off the aerodynamics significantly. Even on the sides here, it's still picking up some air from the front. So that's definitely one of the things that really hinders the performance on these is that the aerodynamics of the guard are not correct. But this is moving a very high volume of air. I can feel the air rushing into the back of the fan. And all around here. Which is kind of interesting because a lot of people seem to agree that these have a very good air velocity, but not too many people seem to agree that they have a good air volume. And while I'm sure the volume is hindered because of the air going in the front, this moves a pretty good volume of air as well. Try to get a really good capture of the way it sounds on all the speeds here. I don't hear that hum out of the motor anymore. Must have just been when it was cold. Bearings are in good condition. Okay, let's check out the startup sounds. Start with the high. Okay, the medium, which seems to be the most finicky on the switch. And lastly, the low.